Hello there and welcome to another edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. I'm Phil Hilton, and over the next 30 minutes we aim to answer all your questions on holiday, cruise and travel related issues. Well, in today's programme we'll be focusing on cruise holidays, so if you have a question for one of our travel experts, here's how to get in touch. Our website is www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Click on Programmes, select the clinic page and submit your questions to us online through the website. You can also email us directly, clinic@holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, and you can write to us through the traditional post methods as well, to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool L22 5NG. Now, every year, a record number of us Brits are choosing a cruise holiday over our traditional break on the beach or a caravan in the valleys. And last year, 1.6 million of us jumped on board to get away, with 1 in 3 passengers being new to cruising. Popularity is growing, as is choice and affordability, but with it comes all these questions that I know you like to ask, like, can I get off the ship and how much should I tip? Should I bring the kids along as well? Well, here to answer these and many more is Mike Evans from Olsen Cruise Lines. Mike, welcome along to the programme.
Thank you, Phil.
Now, just before we started the programme today, you were telling me you've been involved in the travel industry for an awful long time. I won't say how much, but also in cruising for over 20 years. You must have seen a few changes, haven't you?
I certainly have, yes. It's been an industry that has grown considerably in the last 20 years. When you consider at one time there was perhaps 1 or 2 ships only that cruised out of the UK, now there's something in the region of between 20 and 30 different ships that go all year round, and not only that, the other big part of the growth, if you like, in the travel the cruise industry has been the fly cruise, where people fly out to a destination and then join a cruise ship in the Caribbean or in the Canary Islands or even in the Mediterranean. So yeah, very much seen a huge increase in tonnage as far as ships are concerned, but also, as you mentioned earlier, number of passengers. When I first joined the cruise industry back in the early 90s, I think we were lucky if we had 250,000 people travelling with us, and as you say, now we've got 1.6 million, so a massive increase.
It is a huge increase in a fairly short period of time as well.
Very short. When you consider also the fact that this is a sector of the travel industry that has grown year on year, whereas many of the other areas, as far as package holidays, skiing holidays, have actually dropped down in numbers. The cruise industry is the one that keeps increasing all along. So
it's not difficult for us to see where we're going for our holidays now, is it? We're obviously jumping on board a cruise ship, going off and doing something somewhere. But what do you think is that has made people switch from perhaps a package holiday to a cruise holiday?
Well, I think personally one of the biggest factors that draws people into a cruise is the all-inclusive aspect of it. The fact that they can budget at the time when they make the decision where they want to go, they know what sort of money they're going to be spending. They've got great opportunities to see lots of different places. They get everything is very close to them when they get on board, all their food, all their entertainment, that sort of thing. They haven't really got to worry too much about what's the resort going to be like, what's this going to be, what's the weather going to be like, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to go to a place that obviously we as cruise companies have researched to make sure they are the right places for people to go to.
Yeah, I can tell. Well, it sounds good, and the range of things for people to go and do on a cruise ship, you're never going to be bored. But do you think we've got a little bit lazy with the way we take our holidays? We want to be entertained and the ship to take us somewhere rather than having to think about what to do around the pool.
Well, you could look at it that way, but the other, what ships are now designed to do is to provide people with the same sort of thing as a large resort can do. I mean, if you look at the size of ships now, I mean, the smallest vessel that probably people could go on has got maybe up to 100 passengers, one of these very specialist sort of expedition type vessels, to the largest one, which currently I think takes about 5,500 people. But what comes with them, of course, is the infrastructure and all the activities and all the elements that make or that need to be put in place to make that a great holiday. So people don't get bored. There's always something to be doing. Depending on the cruise that you travel on, depending on the type of cruise that you go on, there is always something that people can be doing, and it's great for families on certain ships, it's great for couples, great for different ages as well. So, you know, what we as an industry have done over the last sort of 20 years is to provide the right sort of environment for all types of customer, not just in the old days. It used to be, people used to think it was the ladies with the fur stoles and, you know, the big trunks going off down into Southampton to get on their long voyage. Doesn't happen now. Anyone can buy a cruise, and to be perfectly honest, it is probably the best value for money you'll get in any of the travel business. And
so many different places to go to. It's amazing, really, what you can pick up. Where does Fred Olsen fit into all this? What sort of cruising are you aiming at people?
Right, well, we started out back in the early 80s as a dedicated cruise operation after spending a lot of years doing ferries across the North Sea. What we found was that a lot of people were wanting to do longer than just a couple of days across the sea. So we started out mainly on Canary Islands cruises, and that was with small ships, and that has been our philosophy ever since. We recognise there is a large place in the world for these big ships. Many people want them. You know, they've got climbing walls, they've got wave flow riders and stuff like that. What we tend to do, and it's always been our philosophy, is to operate the smaller size vessels. Our largest vessel takes just 1,200 passengers, 1,250. And our smallest one takes about 800 passengers. So we're still in quite a small size. Now, if I say that go back 15 years and that size was quite large, you'll understand now what's happened in the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years, is that sizes of ships have got bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're not sure how big it's going to get, but I think we're getting towards the top now of the numbers.
Yeah.
But I mean, Fred Olsen have always been in that sort of market that we're dedicated to the British cruise market. So everything that goes on board happens for the British customer. The entertainment is British. The food is, albeit international, but it's got with British undertones. So customers recognise exactly
familiarity.
Very, very much. Yeah. I mean, one of our strap lines used to be, still is to a great extent, home from home. It's one of these things that, you know, when people get on board, they immediately feel relaxed. They immediately feel that they can be happy to sit around and do whatever they want. There's lots of things they can do, but they don't have to do it if they don't want. If they just want to sit and read a good book in the library or sit out on deck when the sun's shining, that's fine. There's no one ever going to say, come on, get up and do this or do that.
I think that's probably what I get asked more when people talk to me about going on a cruise holiday. If they're not familiar about what happens on a ship, will I have to take part in the activities? You can see their faces when they ask you.
Yeah. I get asked a lot of times when we're talking face to face to the public, you know, and many of them will say, will I be bored? And I always say, well, you know, are you bored when you go on a normal holiday? And they say, well, no. So I said, well, there's nothing different on a cruise. The fact you're on a ship, we provide all the same sort of things that you'll find within, if you're in a hotel complex, you'll find it within that. You know, if you want to play deck games, you can do that. If you want to sit and sunbathe, you could do that. If in the afternoon someone wants to enjoy a short game of bingo, they can do that. You know, everything that provided offshore, off ship can be provided on the ship.
Of course, so. and people may get to the point where they are a little bit bored of their round by the pool holiday, because you know, I can stand a couple of days of sitting in a chair in the sun by the pool, and after the second day I'm thinking I need to go and do something now. I've chilled out a bit now.
Well, I think, Phil, that's one of the great things about a cruise, because if you get on board and there's a couple of days before you arrive in the first port is always going to be somewhere where people get off, enjoy a full day. I mean, with most cruise lines, and I'll say this as far as with most cruise lines, the length of time you're in port is relatively long. It's sort of a 9 o'clock in the morning arrival, and you don't leave till 5, 6 or 7 at night. So they've got a full day to be able to do that. They can use the ship as their base. They can go off. Many cruise lines will offer shuttle services into town and things like that, so that, you know, they get into town, they can do their own thing, and they can enjoy the views or go on a tour, and then come back, have lunch, do the same thing in the afternoon if they want to do. So when you come back to, are people going to get bored? the great thing about a cruise is the next day they're off to some other place. You know, it could be Lisbon one day, Barcelona the next, or it could be a sunshine resort, or the Canary Islands, or you know, wherever. So it's a great way of seeing different things, but at the same time, filling your time with new and different things.
Okay, well, Mike, I can tell why you work in sales for Fred Olsen. Now you're telling me a very good story there today. So just stay there, because there's plenty more questions I want to come and ask you in a few moments' time, including what's available for younger members of the family to do on board ship. But if we whetted your appetite at the idea of a cruise holiday, but you still have a few more questions, then our handy guides are designed just for you. Here they are. They're absolutely free of charge, and we have got our first time guide to cruise holidays and our guide to family cruising as well. If you want a copy of either or both, then all you have to do is give us a call now on 0871 423 4444. That's 0871 423 4444. The number's on your screen now. These will cost you just 10p a minute to make the call from a BT landline, and the costs from other networks and mobiles may vary. You can also request a copy of the guides on our website at www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. And whilst you're doing that, we'll take a quick break, and I'll be back with Mike in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic, the only programme on TV that's dedicated to answering all your holiday, cruise and travel related questions. So if you want to get in touch with us and challenge one of our experts, here's how. Our website is www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Just click on Programmes, select the clinic page and submit your questions to us online through the website. You can also email us directly, clinic@holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. And you're welcome to write to us by post as well, to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Now back to today's programme, and Mike Evans from Fred Olsen Cruise Lines is still with me. Mike, with your long heritage of experience in the travel industry and with cruising as well, we've got a fair chunk of things still to go at in the next few minutes. But just before the break, we talked a little bit about wanting to know about whether it's a good idea to take your kids on holiday. I mean, that's the subject for a whole different programme, really, isn't it?
It could be.
But where cruising is concerned, is it a good idea?
Well, obviously, as long as people go with the right cruise line. I mean, there are some fantastic cruise ships out there for families, as well as for so young people who've got younger children as well. I mean, Disney has their own cruise ships. Royal Caribbean is a very, very sort of family-orientated company as well as NCL and all that. So there's lots of different things. What can they do? Well, you find most of the bigger cruise ships will have kids clubs on board for all the various different ages. So whilst they're on board, they can be sort of supervised as such. With a lot of other lines where children are still welcome, especially, for example, with our own sort of cruises, we take families on board quite a lot during the summertime. We get more generational families where it's grandmas, mums and dads and kids. Different in one respect is that we don't have the space to have so many of the different kiddies clubs, but if we get enough people with enough younger children on board, we'll actually hire in specific helpers to make sure that these children are looked after whilst the ship is at sea. One of the things that we don't do, and I think you'll find there'll be other cruise lines that don't do it as well, is they don't offer sort of a babysitting service that you can leave the kids with them all the time. They do expect you to be with them at some point. But yeah, there is so much for young children to do. I mean, I looked around one of the newest Royal Caribbean ships recently, and they've even got, apart from the fact they've got this flow rider, they've got sort of games consoles, they've got a gymnasium with a full-size boxing ring and stuff like that.
Sounds like you're talking from experience.
Well, I didn't actually ever go with it, but I did watch it.
You've seen it.
I've seen it, yeah. But as I say, I mean, there is so much for young people to do, and I think it's a great atmosphere around, because obviously where there are a lot of children together, they all mix and they all sort of get on together and they can eat together as well. So I think it's a superb way of getting families to go on holiday.
Absolutely, and I want to talk about that in a second or two, but it seems to me that the thing we often talk about on this programme is prepare yourself as much in advance before you go and take your cruise holiday, and look at the options available to you, because it may be that if you've got a big party booking of children and families and all together, that you can do something a little bit extra, can you?
Absolutely. I mean, the worst thing that someone could do is to go, for a first time, is to go on the wrong ship, should we say. Cruises are a ship could be a ship, but let me tell you this, there are so many differences that you find when you get on board that the things that could spoil your holiday if you're a family could ruin it for the rest of the time, and they just don't want to go back again. So you've got to do your research first, find the right cruise ship, talk to the right travel agent, and obviously
I was going to say travel agent, perhaps maybe some advice needed rather than mum or dad having a look online and thinking, oh, that'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the online websites are great to show the sort of ships, but there's nothing better than sort of first-hand experience, and obviously the travel agent will be able to give you that as well. But once you've decided the cruise that you want to go on, then obviously, yeah, do some research on it and make sure that it's exactly what you're looking for. As I say, there are some massive ships out there. There are some very small ships, and you know, if it's not the sort of thing that you're looking for, once you've got on board, I'm afraid you can't just sort of jump off. You've got to go through with it.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure it's for you. But I'm sure, you know, what were you saying? Several million people can't be wrong.
Well, quite, yes. I mean, we expect the market to increase again this year, and that will be the sort of 11th or 12th year continuous that the numbers have increased. So, you know, there's a cruise out there for everybody. I must be perfectly honest.
Do you find people do special occasion cruising? You were hinting to me that families perhaps get together, generations of families get together for, say, you know, Granny's 80th or something like that, or a wedding anniversary, and you all go off together and you all enjoy it. Do you find that happens? That
happens quite a lot, yes. I mean, you know, a number of times you get sort of large group bookings, and they're all for families, the whole, you know, sort of extended families all come together. It could be to celebrate someone's 50th, 60th wedding anniversary, things like that. You know, with a lot of cruise lines, especially our own as well, we have special packages that we give to couples who are celebrating a main wedding anniversary, completely free. It's worth sort of quite a bit if they want to buy it, but we actually give those for those who are on sort of gold, silver, platinum, that sort of thing. So there's lots of interesting things that people can do if they want to go on there. Except to celebrate a holiday, a specific anniversary.
Yes, it's always worth mentioning, isn't it? Because if you know me, and being a cheapskate, it's always worth mentioning when you go on holiday somewhere that it's your birthday or it's your wedding anniversary, and extra little things happen sometimes, don't they?
Very much so. One should also make sure people are aware that if they don't want it celebrated, they should say so as well, because obviously a cake being brought to you in the restaurant, singing with the waiters singing "Happy Birthday" may not be everyone's cup of tea. But, and of course, we do know the ages of people.
I was going to say, do you check?
Well, ages go onto the system, and we will invariably do it unless someone says no. But,
okay.
But yeah, it's a great thing though. You know, I mean, we get a lot of people who will come on board. You know, at the moment we're celebrating this year the baby boomers, 65. Everyone's, if you go back, the biggest increase in the birth rate is 65 years ago, 2012. So so at the moment we've got a bit of a celebration in our brochure that if you're a baby boomer joining us for the first time, there's a special little package we'll offer. So yeah, lots of different things, and we're all out there trying to sort of entice customers, especially new customers, to come along for the first time. Yeah,
yeah. Now, equally, we've talked about bringing your children. We've talked about enjoying yourself as a family, big family together. Everybody celebrating something. If you just want a holiday away without your kids, and maybe just you want a bit of a love thing going on or something with your partner, or to celebrate your anniversary between the two of you, what options are available there for cruising?
Well, if you start at the sort of the medium range, for example. Everywhere you look, there's a cruise ship out there that caters either for adults only. We cater for sort of time of year. Also dictates, you know, look at going outside of the school holiday times, and that will also be very useful. But as I say, there's lots of different cruises. I mean, from sailing ships to very upmarket yachts, private yachts even. But if you're going for just a general cruise, then as I say, every company can offer a really nice sort of package for two people with private dining if you want them. There's also, again, we come back to the sort of size of ships. There's lots of different restaurants you could go into on some of the larger ships as well, which gives you that sort of ambience of being just on your own with your partner. So lots of different things available, and it's really, again, as I said earlier, it's really making sure you do your homework.
Yes, absolutely. And amongst the obvious questions that people ask me, like, will I get seasick, and will I have to dress in my finery every evening? If I don't like flying, and a cruise is perfect for me because I'm on a ship, but what about getting to it? Is it possible to actually go anywhere without getting on a plane? Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, we as a cruise line offer 6 different ports of departure out of the UK in 2012, and as I say, you could go from up here. We have from Liverpool in 2013. We've been looking to run in a program. We go out of Newcastle. We go out of Scotland as well, and we also do Dover and Southampton, as well as Portsmouth as well. So lots, and we're not alone. There are now more people travelling out of the UK on cruise ships than there ever has been. And
will I have to make my own way to the embarkation point then?
Well, there's a lot of ways you could do it. I mean, many cruise lines will offer you free car parking at the ports, or there's dedicated coach services that run from the north to the south if that's where it's going. There's also rail deals as well as other bus services as well. But the vast majority of times, if you're looking for it's the first time in doing it, talk to the travel agent, and they'll find you the right deal that will give you free car parking or something like that. So it's not beyond the realms that you could get everything from your home doorstep right down to the port.
Right, okay, yeah. Brilliant, Mike. Well, I could carry on talking to you for another half hour about the kinds of things you can do once you're on board, but we're going to have to leave it there. But thanks very much for telling us all about cruising today. And if that's whetted your appetite a little bit, don't forget about our guides. Our 2 handy guides that are available. They answer all your questions on cruising for the first time, whether you're going as a man and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, or however you want to go, or with your family. There's lots of useful tips and information in them both. If you want to request a copy of one or both of them, just call us on 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline, and the costs from other networks and mobiles may vary. You can also request a copy online at our website, well worth a visit, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Well, that's all we've got time for on today's edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. My thanks once again to Mike from Fred Olsen Cruise Lines, and thanks to you for watching and your questions. See you next time.